Students, welcome to virtual session of week 4 of Database Management Systems course. If you can hear me properly, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. So I am going to continue from the slide from where I left. So let me share slides with you first. So the slides are the same as placed in the week 4. Not the ones given on the blackboard, but the ones that I modified and excluding the slide number 6 to 35. Okay, so we were on slide number 15. Before continuing, I want to know if you can see the slides. Can you see the slides? Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to continue from the slide from where I left. So I was going to explain you general transformation rules for relational algebraic operations. So this is like because if different relations have the same attributes but are in different order, then you can apply certain properties on them. If the two relations have the attributes in different order, but even if they are in different orders, they will be representing the same information. So if, like for example, there are two relations, just the ordering of records and the ordering of the columns, means attributes is changed, but the information is same. So both of the relations will be considered as equivalent, like equal, the same relation. There are certain transformation rules as well which we use when we want to improve our query tree. As I told you, as we practiced in the face-to-face session as well, like when you have a query tree, there are multiple trees which can be made for a single query, and the tree actually will be representing the execution plan, that how the query will be executed. There are certain leaf nodes and there are certain middle nodes and there is a root node as well. So you can make different trees for the same query. So when you want to, the simplest tree when it is made may not be the optimal one, and most of the times it's not the optimal. So you apply certain operations on that to improve its execution so that it can execute in minimum amount of time and taking minimum amount of space and give you best results. And so there are certain things we want to see. So we apply certain transformation rules, and there are certain properties which the operations meet and they have. So we are going to study them. The first is the cascade of selection operator. A conjunctive selection condition can be broken up into a cascade sequence of individual selection operations. For example, if you are using selection operator and you're writing it as C1 and C2 and C3 up to Cn on the relation R, you can write it as selection of C1, bracket open, then selection of C2, and you can write it like this. So you can write the same operation in this way. The second is the commutative of selection operator. The selection operator is commutative. So you remember the commutative property, or like we have studied the commutative property for addition. So this is like commutative property of selection. Like if you write selection of C1 and selection of C2 on the relation R, it is equal to or equivalent to selection of C2 and then C1 on R. So it doesn't matter. The order doesn't matter whether you write C1 first and C2 afterwards, or you write it C2 first or C1 afterwards. So both represent the same information. Then the cascade of projection operator. In a cascade sequence of projection operations, all but the last one can be ignored. So it means all can be ignored except the last one. For example, if you are writing it as projection of list 1, then list 2 up to list n, it is equal to projection of list 1, because at the end you will only be projecting list 1 out of all. So this is equal to writing prediction of list 1. Then commutating selection with projection. If the selection condition C involves only the attribute A or attributes A1 up to AN in the projection list, the two operations can be commuted. Like projection of A1 up to AN and the selection of C can be written as selection of C and then projection of and then selection of C. So it means this is commutative property with both the operations, selection and projection. Then comes the commutativity of join operation. The join operation is commutative as is the cross operation. So the cross and join both are commutative. Like if you are writing it as R join C and then X is equal to writing is like this, and R cross S equal to S cross R. So the both of them are commutative. Then if you are using selection with join or selection with cross, if all the attributes in the selection condition C involves only the attributes of one of the relations being joined, say R, the two operations can be commutated as follows. So if you write R join S and use selection operator with C, and C can be any condition, so it is equal to writing selection operation with R and C and then joining it with S. Alternatively, it can be reversed and it can be written like this. So you can write it in this way as well. Excuse me. So then commutating projection with join or cross. Suppose the projection list is L, where it has attributes A1 up to AN and B1 up to BM. So this is the projection list. And the A1 up to N are attributes of R and B1 up to B are attributes of S. So if the join condition C involves only attributes in L, so it means both of the attributes, the two operations can be commuted as follows. So you can write it in this way, and both of the sides represent the same information. Projection of A1 up to N from R and joining with the condition, and then with projection of B1 up to B from S, and this is is equal to the operation on the left. And similarly, there are some other properties as well which are quite similar, and you can read this, and if you find any problems you can come to me in the face-to-face class. I am skipping the last three. Okay, now this is I have told you the operations which can be which are equivalent and which are having certain properties. So when we can use these properties when we want to apply heuristic optimization algorithms. So we are now going to outline the steps of an algorithm that utilizes some of the above rules. Now the above rules, like the properties we have just studied. So these rules, these are called rules, and these rules can be used to transform an initial QDT tree, any tree which is made initially, into a final tree that is more efficient to execute. So what we do is that for a query, once we make an initial tree and then we improve it and then make a final tree which is more efficient in terms of execution than the initial tree. So how you perform transformation in last class, I told you that we have to exclude the unnecessary information as early as possible to reduce the execution time and to improve the execution. To have better execution, you need to exclude the unnecessary operation, unnecessary information from your tree. So these are some of the rules which are specified, like these are some of the properties. So we are calling rules, we are calling properties as rules. As you can see here that I have numbered all the properties. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what we are doing over here is that we are calling this property as rule 1. So using rule 1, break up any select operation with conjunctive condition into cascade of selections. So it means instead of having one selection operation, it is better to break it down into multiple selection operations. So if it is there in the query, you can break it down. And there are many other rules as well. You have to study these rules in detail, but I won't be going in the detail right now. I just want to give you the summary of all these rules. And this summary is given, these are 6 rules. The summary is given over here in the form of 3 rules. So whenever you have to transform an initial tree into final tree, the main heuristic, the main strategy should be to apply first the operations that reduce the size of intermediate results. So first of all, try to reduce the size of the results. For example, if you need only few attributes, pick up them from the table. If you require a few records, pick those records from the table. Do not perform operations on the complete data, on complete tables. So before performing any operations, the necessary step is to perform trimming of data. So trimming of unnecessary information. Pick up only the data which you need. I forgot to turn off this fan. Wait a second. Okay, so the first of all what you do is to perform trimming of data to exclude the unnecessary information. So you reduce the size of intermediate results. Then the next step is to perform selection operations as early as possible to reduce the number of tuples and perform project operations as early as possible to reduce the number of attributes. As you know that when you perform select operations, you are picking up certain tuples from your data. So the first thing is to perform select operations as early as possible. And this will be performed when you move the selection operations in the leaf nodes. So the leaf nodes will be performed first. So the first selection operation should come at the leaf nodes. And after selection, you should perform the project operations, because as you know that the project operations picks up only a few attributes which you require. Like if a table contains 10 attributes and you need only 3 of them, so if you use projection operator, you will pick only those 3 attributes from the table. So it is better to first use the selection operator and then perform the project operation as early as possible to reduce the number of attributes. This is done by moving select and project operations as far down the tree as possible. So down the tree, it should be at the lowest level on the leaf node, or it should be at the above the leaf node. So it should not be at the top level. The select and join operations that are most restrictive should be executed before other similar operations. This is done by reordering the leaf nodes of the tree among themselves and adjusting the rest of the tree appropriately. So even if at the leaf level, you can perform reordering to improve your results. So once you have made you have improved your tree and you have come up with your final tree, you convert your query tree into your query execution plan. So you had an initial tree, you have improved your tree, and then you convert your tree into query in your execution plan. An execution plan for a relational algebraic expression it is represented as a query tree, includes information about the access methods available for each relation, and as well as the algorithms which will be used in to evaluate the expression in the query tree. So you use query tree information and you use access methods and use the relation operators for the execution plan. Now, if we talk about the execution plan, you will see that the approach, like the execution plan is actually the approach for executing, how you'll be executing. So the approach taken for executing the query can either be materialized evaluation or it can be pipelined evaluation. So there are when you are following the execution plan, The approach can be materialized or pipeline, and the pipeline evaluation is preferred over materialized evaluation whenever feasible. So whenever it is, you prefer to use pipeline evaluation than materialized evaluation. And why it is so, it will become very clear very soon. When you are going for materialized evaluation, the results of an operation is stored in a temporary relation. So it means the materialized means it is physically materialized because you are creating a temporary relation to store the result of evaluation. So it means you need more memory space. So you, for example, even if you are using a join operation, you can compute the result and you can store the entire result in a temporary relation, so which can be used as input in some other operation. So the materialized evaluation requires extra space to store the results. If you are using pipeline evaluation, so in case of pipeline evaluation, the result of an operator, as the result of an operator is produced, it is forwarded to the next operator in sequence. It means you don't need temporary relation to store the result. As soon as the result from an operator is ready, they are directly forwarded to the next operation in the query sequence. And of course, pipeline evaluation is preferred because it does not require extra space, and the results are directly forwarded. The example can be if you have selected some tuples from the department, select using the selection operation. And you are after this you are using the join operation. So it will consume like you have got the results and you have placed them in a buffer. So the join operation will immediately consume the results from the buffer and use it in the next operation. And similarly, the join operation will produce some results which will be consumed by some other operation. So if you are maintaining the result in the form of a pipeline, once produced by one operation can be consumed by the next operation. So this is called pipeline evaluation, and it is considered a better approach. The next topic is about cost-based query optimization. So when you are using a query optimizer, it is not only dependent on the heuristic rules. So the query optimizer also estimates and compares the cost of executing queries. So the cost of executing queries is important. And we are interested in choosing the strategies which gives us the lowest cost estimate. So what we do is we estimate and then compare the cost of executing a query using different execution strategies, and choose the one with the lowest cost estimate. The issues which comes with this is that which cost function should be used, and we need to consider a number of execution strategies. Now, the cost of executing a query includes some components. What are those components? Number 1, access cost to secondary storage. Number 2, storage cost. Number 3, computation cost. Number 4, memory usage cost. And number 5 is communication cost. So I'll explain these one by one. So it means if you are calculating the cost of query execution, all these costs are added up. So access cost to secondary storage, it is the cost of transferring. Transferring means either reading or writing data from the secondary disk or the main memory. So you are reading from the secondary disk and memory. So you are doing input and output from disk. So this is the access cost of it. So it also requires like how you have stored your data, and where the data is located. So this is called access cost. The second is storage cost. This is the cost of storing on disk any intermediate files that are generated by the execution strategy. So if you are using the materialized execution strategy, that means you require the extra disk storage space as well. So the disk storage cost will be higher in that case. The third one is the computation cost. So in execution of query, the computation cost also matters. This is the cost of performing in memory operations on the records within the data buffers and when you are executing your query. So, for example, you are searching for some records and using some searching algorithms, or you are sorting the data, or you are merging it. So this is also called this is called computation cost. The fourth one is the memory usage cost. So it means how many memory do you need when you are executing. So how many memory cells, and when we talk about memory, here we are talking about main memory. So how much main memory your query will be utilizing while execution. So this is the memory usage cost. And when we say communication cost, so you know that you have written a query and you are communicating from the disk or from the place where the data is stored. So it means the cost of shipping the query and its results from the database side to the site where the query is originated. So it is not necessary that the query is also placed on the same machine, on the same place where database is located. Sometimes the database is located somewhere else and the query is located, not sometimes, most of the time, if you're not on the database server, people are writing query on the database servers. So the query is located somewhere else and the database is located somewhere else. So it means the communication cost, so it means the cost of transferring tables and results among various computers during query evaluation. So this cost also gets added with the query execution cost. And remember, for large databases, our main emphasis is to minimize the access cost to secondary storage, because for large databases we need to retrieve data again and again from secondary storage. So we want to reduce the access cost. So we to place our data in such a way so that access cost is reduced. So similarly, when we are using, it depends on the structure of because we have different forms of database. We maintain data in different ways. So which cost is more important for you depends on how you have organized your databases. Now, we want to estimate, we know that these are the cost components of execution of query execution plan. Now we want to evaluate or want to estimate the cost of different execution strategies so that we can adopt one which is giving us the lowest cost. So how we can calculate cost? It depends on the cost functions, and the cost function and the information which is used in cost function, like your DBMS catalog. So this is the information about the size of file. So these are the information which is maintained in catalog. So catalog information is necessary to know what is catalog information and why it is important. So the information about the size of file, first of all, the number of records, how many records are there in the file. This is an important information. Then what is the average record size, how many number of file blocks you have, so how many number of file blocks you need, and the blocking factor, so that you can keep track of it. So this is the information we need. And sometimes we need information about indexes and indexing attributes of a file as well, like how you are organize your file as well. So we need to keep track of the information of about how the file is organized. So either it is unordered or it is ordered by some attribute. It is using clustered index or it is using hashing. So if it is multi-index, so the number of levels of each multi-index you need to record, number of first level index blocks you need to record, and the number of distinct values of an attribute, how many distinct values are there, you need to keep track of it, and attribute selectivity. So like selectivity indicates what is the fraction of records satisfying an equality condition on the attribute. So this is the selectivity. So and then selection cardinality, like average number of records which will satisfy the equality condition. So this is selection cardinality. That is how many attributes can be selected and what is the frequency of that selection. That is selection cardinality. So we need to keep track of this information as well. There is an example of cost function for select. I think we should stop here, and I'll continue from here in our face-to-face class, because this thing should be explained, can be better explained in face-to-face session. So now this is the example of cost function which is left, and then another example of cost function for join. So one example for select and one example to calculate cost of join is left. And then these two slides. So this is the overview of query optimization in Oracle, and this is the semantic query optimization. So we'll be talking about these in our face-to-face class. Meanwhile, I want you to. So I'm leaving from slide number 28. I remember this. The number may be changed because I have elaborated few slides in this. Okay, so now I want to know if you have any question from these. So any question from the contents you have just studied? Yes, Amal, do you have any question? You can type your question here. Okay. Okay, now I want you to go to read the relevant contents from your book, and remember I excluded the slides, the slides which are given on Blackboard, like in the week 4. The slides from slide number 6 to 35 are excluded, and the relevant topics from book as well. So read all the topics from book till this point. Like I'm going to start in face-to-face session from example of cost function for select. So read all the topics before this and try to understand this as well, and I'll continue from here in my face-to-face class. So I'm turning the microphone off, but I'm available over here. If you find any question, you can type in the text panel and I'll answer you over here. Thank you very much.